Good morning, CFFers. Of course, it might not be morning for you, but it is for me. I'm doing this on a Monday morning after breakfast and coffee. I'm mostly awake, so hopefully this will go over pretty well. What I want to do is give you a December 2021 update for triathlon coaching. And the idea here is I just wanted to showcase the continual improvements I'm doing on the coaching side, just to help make sure that we have the best 2022 possible. So I'm always trying to get you guys to continually improve as athletes. I'm doing the same as coach. And I just want to review some of the things that have been brought up recently, making sure that we're all on the same page. I get concerned that I piecemeal this out and it might not be as cohesive as it should be. So let's see if we can bring this all together, at least for the start of 2022. So the things I want to review quickly is just an optional process that I've worked through with Adon and myself, and that's looking at 2021 in review. That's a volume and intensity report, so I'll go through that. And then the 2022 annual training plans from goal setting to training peaks, we'll go through that. And then just key training sessions that came up primarily for the swim. I want to show you a tool or two that I have to help each of us go through that, me as coach and you guys as athletes. So the volume and intensity report's interesting. It's a new tool. I want to use it for tracking each one of you monthly. So that is the plan, that is the goal, that is the new standard for me as coach. So the idea is January through, well, November here. I took December as a recovery month, basically. So it's January through November for me. It might differ slightly for you. I'm looking at volume in the upper half. I'm looking at intensity by bike par and run par in the bottom half. And I have standards, and then I have orange and yellow shading for deviation from standard. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that, given that we have X amount of training hours per month as an estimate, putting that number in, understanding what the distribution should be for 80-20 and how close we are to achieving that. And then I want to do the same thing for hours. So looking at overall volume and thinking about the percent that we do for bike, for run, and for swim, and for other. So it helps create a nice visual, just looking backwards for this one. But again, going forward for each one of you, we'll do this monthly and I'll share results if they get too skewed. So again, it's looking at intensity distribution and volume distribution. So we can go into that more if you get interested and you want me to do this for you. It takes a good 30 minutes, so I would probably want to get paid for that, kind of like an a la carte service. But again, if you just want to use it going forward, that's going to be included with your standard coaching. What I learned by looking at mine, I still have too much zone 3. That's the yellow towards the bottom, especially on the bike power. And yeah, I need to shift it to zone 1 too. It's something that was a little surprising. So that was one thing that I learned just by looking backwards. And I probably need to put a little bit more time into the run. I wonder why I don't perform well in a 70.3 run. And then I look at my training hours for the run and they're skewed a little bit on the low side. So anyways, always something to learn. For goal setting, I have a whole another video for this. It's in my YouTube videos. You can find it. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll give you a link. But this is a standard CFF goal setting that's been the same. I suggest that each one of you does the goal setting exercise, either the CFF version or this new Wahoo system version. It's not this page, it's actually this one. So they have a mental training workbook within the app. And again, this used to be Sufferfest, now it's Wahoo system. I think you guys have all gone that far. So there's a mental training portion of that app, and it keys on giving you video-based instructions and audio. And then you do this mental training workbook. It's got a lot of stuff to cover. There's 10 segments. And it's really meant to be over about a 10-week period, but it kind of expands the season because it goes from goal setting to race event planning. But it's really dynamite. I've used it for personally for about 2 years, and I keep doing more of it. And this year, I think I'm going to follow every step to make sure I do all 10 steps. So again, that's a tool. If you have the app, I suggest you do this, but at least do the Cycling Form and Fitness version. It's really good to come up with this big mountain goal is what they call it, but it's got similar output to my CFF goal setting process. What's your big goal and why? And what are the supporting goals to achieve that large, big mountain goal? The other thing that I've shared already is the training calendar, I should say the race calendar for each of us. And I put that together in one sheet because I think it's nice to see what others are doing. Understand if you want to support, if you want to race, or if you can jump into an event or start training for an event that maybe you didn't even think of in the past, but you realize that's something you want to do. It's on your bucket list, and you got some team members doing it. Because of course we're stronger together, and whether we're supporting or racing, I think we can do a lot together as a group. The one thing I haven't put on here is the events at Yard Park, and we'll definitely have those, and we might expand it to the entire extreme team. We'll just see how things are going with COVID and such. So that goes to the next step, which is a annual training plan for you in Training Peaks. I have that loaded for everyone except Ellen. Ellen's not quite sure about races for 2022, so when I have those, we'll get going on the annual plan. But for each one of you, it's set. We have different races occurring at different times and different peaks. We got Bev with an early season peak doing Ironman Texas, and then we got the majority of us doing half Ironman Memphis late. So it does vary by athlete, so it's not just one plan fits all. And then you don't know this necessarily, but I do have another tool I use behind the scenes. It's making sure we get key training sessions done by swim, bike, run. This particular snapshot that I have here is just for the bike for the base period, but it's making sure that we're getting slow pedal sessions in, fast pedal, elements of style, moderate or long endurance, depending on how far along you are. And we're doing a FTP test. And that FTP test will probably be done more as a ramp test. We can do that in Wahoo system. And I think it's a better test. It gives us 3 numbers. It gives us our bike threshold power. And it gives us maximum aerobic power. And it gives a strong estimate of your lactate threshold heart rate. So again, three metrics, 3 outcomes that come from one test. And it's less painful than a 20-minute test, I promise you. And last but not least, our favorite shit workout. So that's the high intensity interval training, relatively short intervals, just to keep our systems all in check as we go through the base period. If we don't do that, of course, there's a risk of losing some of our top end more than we would want to. I provided the swim manual. I gave that in Facebook on Messenger. So you should have the PDF for that. There were some mistakes in it, but in general, it's good. It's got the first 10 pages are showing the correct swim stroke, and there's pictures to go along with that. And then the second half is stroke correction drills. And of course, this is all made better by doing videos. So not the hard sell here, but for a minimal cost, you can have me do a video, or you can even do videos yourself and send them to me. But if you're going to do a video of yourself or your training mate, just make sure you contact me first so that we get the right views. And you need to have a camera that can go underwater. So that's one caveat. But if not, I can do these at the Y if I just pick a good time. So there's options. But anyways, even without a video, you might be able to watch each other and see what swim stroke errors you have, and then look at here for a good drill set to fix that and help you through it. So one example I would have going forward, and it's going to show up in a lot of your training plans this week, is having drills as a set. So this is pretty simple. It's just 4x50 warm up, 4x50 drills. You pick a drill that you need the most personally. Again, you can work with me if you need to. If I've seen you swim, it helps. If I have a video, it helps more. And we can pick a drill. And then just 8x100s after that, just focused on that part of your stroke correction, making sure you're trying to embed it as a habit. So pretty straightforward session. Just thought it was worth at least explaining. And then the pre-activity comments. I just have my stroke correction, and there's 5 elements to that. And that's based on my video, so yours would be different, but these are pretty common traits that need to be thought about. So I included them on this workout. Last but not least, we're getting to almost 12 minutes, so I try to make these about 12 minutes or shorter. I do have, I guess it's a 60-page best practice manual that is available for you as a CFF athlete. I would ask that you don't share this with others, but I've spent several years now trying to fine-tune this. So unlike the swim manual that still has some mistakes like I should probably go back and fix, I believe that this 60 pages in the best practice manual are solid. Many of these I've shared with you guys. You've seen me send out 1, 2, 3 pagers over time, just addressing specific issues that came up. This is the whole enchilada. So if you want a copy of this, I will provide it to you by request. It's an option. So I think that's about what I have today. I kind of rambled through that pretty quickly. So if you have questions, just get in contact with me individually. If I get the same question over and over, I'll address it with the entire group through Facebook Messenger. Great. Well, thanks for joining in for 2022. I'm happy to have you all be part of the team. And I think we can have the best year that we've had for quite some time. Hopefully it's going to be post-COVID and post-restrictions. Thank you very much. Goodbye.